Picture this. It's the dead of night, 1943. A freezing, pitch-black ocean stretching out literally as far as the eye can see. Below the surface, a British military submarine is running silent, completely undetected. Suddenly, a body is slipped into the freezing water. But wait, this isn't a burial at sea. Chained to this floating corpse is a military briefcase stuffed with top-secret documents. Documents that were carefully engineered by British intelligence with one totally audacious goal to absolutely fool Adolf Hitler. In 1943, British intelligence sent a dead man to sea. And somehow, the deception worked. I'm so pumped to dive into this explainer with you today, because it immediately sparks some wild questions. Like, who exactly was this guy floating in the dark? Why on earth did they chain highly classified intel to him? And seriously, how does a lifeless corpse manage to outsmart the entire high command of Nazi Germany? Well, let's unpack this incredible true story together. We know this mission today as Operation Mincemeat, a highly classified Allied deception plan from 1943. Now, you gotta understand, an elaborate scheme like this doesn't just materialize out of nowhere. It was born out of a massive, and I mean massive, strategic headache the Allies were facing. They were gearing up for a major offensive move, the invasion of Sicily, but they were staring down a colossal roadblock that demanded some seriously out-of-the-box thinking.
All right, Section 1, the Mediterranean problem, and figuring out exactly where to strike.
Setting the stage here. In 1943, German forces are on super high alert. They absolutely know, an Allied attack is coming somewhere in the Mediterranean theater. The million-dollar question was just where? The Allies' actual target was Sicily, but their feigned target, the big fake-out, was Greece. British intelligence desperately needed to sell Germany on the idea that Greece was the real target, because if the Germans bought that lie hook, line, and sinker, Sicily suddenly looks way less important, and the Germans shift their defenses away. So they needed a distraction, but not just any distraction. They needed to engineer one of the most bizarre ruses of the entire war. Which brings us to Section 2, the man who never existed. Let's talk about creating Major William Martin. To pull this massive strategic misdirection off, British intelligence did something completely unprecedented. They literally fabricated an identity from thin air, Major William Martin of the Royal Marines. But here is the crazy part. This guy never existed. Instead, intelligence officers took a real, unidentified dead body and built a total, completely fake persona around it. The level of detail here is just staggering. Consider what they called his pocket litter. They didn't just throw him in a period-correct uniform. They gave him a wallet stuffed with realistic identity papers, a photo of a completely made-up fiancé, handwritten love letters, a cigarette case, you name it. Why go to all this trouble? Because this guy's pockets were going to be emptied and inspected by some of the most paranoid, highly trained enemy analysts on the planet. The fiction had to be flawless. But the absolute crown jewel of this whole operation was that briefcase, securely chained to the body. It held a completely believable, totally fictional life designed entirely to deceive. They couldn't just throw in a single letter saying, "Hey, we're invading Greece." That's way too obvious, right? Instead, the briefcase was packed with layered secret documents, marked up maps of the Mediterranean, casual handwritten notes between generals. It was an intricate masterclass in storytelling, designed to convince German intelligence that Greece was the main event and Sicily was just a minor diversion. They weren't just forging a few papers, they were practically writing a novel to alter reality. Moving on to Section 3, the execution, the body goes to sea. So it's April 30, 1943. Imagine the tension on that submarine. It must have been completely suffocating. Step 1, the body of our fake Major Martin is released into the rolling waves right off the Spanish coastline. Step 2 relies entirely on human nature. Spanish authorities find the body washing up in the surf, just like the British planned. And Step 3, those authorities, eventually, pass the classified documents straight along to German intelligence. Every single step here was absolutely critical. If the body sinks, or if the locals just throw the briefcase in a locker and forget about it, the whole operation is toast. The entire deception literally hinged on the enemy finding this briefcase and swallowing the bait. So here is the ultimate question. Did Germany actually believe it? Well, yes, they absolutely did. German military planners took every single piece of paper in that briefcase deadly seriously. This dead man had actually managed to infiltrate the highest, most secretive levels of enemy planning. And the proof is right there in the history books. As a direct result, German military units literally started moving across maps toward Greece.
German high command became entirely convinced that Greece was the primary target, all because of Major Martin's fictional briefcase. Now let's be clear and keep our history straight. Operation Mincemeat didn't single-handedly win the war. It was one piece of a much larger, massive Allied deception campaign. But this specific, totally bizarre ruse, it completely worked. It successfully tricked the Germans into shifting their defensive focus right away from Sicily.
Okay, Section 4, the real invasion. Here comes the twist. While the Germans were scrambling to beef up their defenses in Greece, the Allies were executing their actual original plan. Just think about how this timeline actually played out. April 30, 1943, the body goes into the sea. By mid-1943, German troops are actively being diverted to Greece, chasing a ghost. And then, boom, July 10, 1943, a massive armada of Allied landing craft hits their true target, and they successfully invade Sicily. The misdirection worked perfectly. They created that crucial shadow of a doubt about where the main attack would come from. Incredibly, the dead man had successfully delivered his fake message from beyond the grave. I want to leave you with this thought today. In wartime, information can be as dangerous as weapons. Operation Mincemeat is such a wild testament to that. Just think about it for a second. A fictional soldier, some incredibly good forgeries, and a corpse. Together, they completely fooled a formidable enemy superpower. It just goes to show you that sometimes the absolute most devastating weapon you can deploy isn't a tank or a bomber or a gun. It's just making your enemy believe the wrong story. Really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other major historical truths might just be carefully crafted deceptions? Keep questioning everything, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.